What is up, ladies and gents? It's your boy Jermaine Event, main on MMA, and today, ladies and gents, we are checking out a video from our boy GeeKay. Does great work. Check him out if you haven't. Head on over there, give him a like, give him a subscribe. Head on over to GeeKay's page. As I said, this video is about our boy Anthony Smith. Got into a beef with Rampage. People just keep beefing with Rampage lately. Rampage is getting back in that ring. He's about to box Rashad Evans. Sugar Rashad. They're about to have a boxing match, I believe, pretty soon here. You know, don't bring that dog back out the cage. Because just I don't want to see it anyway. I don't want to see it. But let's see about this beef that I saw some headlines throughout the week, but I was like, I'll just wait until somebody I think has a good page possibly puts up a good overview of everything that's going down, and it's thankfully our boy GeeKay. So let's see what he has to say about this whole beef between Lionheart and Rampage Jackson.
If you were to ask Anthony Smith about Anthony Smith, he'd tell you that on paper, Anthony Smith beats anyone that's not Anthony Smith.
I don't think there's a guy at 205 that can beat me right now in a 15-minute fight.
Let him know.
If I can put my foot on the gas and go, like, I might be the best 3-round fighter in the world.
Let him know.
If someone that I know that
Let him know
says, I'll beat that guy, I just laugh because I know that's
the GOAT.
And that's why they get so angry about it. If I show up and I'm on point and I'm mentally where I need to be, I'll beat them all.
And John Jones is beatable. He's not that good.
Tell him.
He's pretty good.
He's an amazing fighter. He's very good at what he does. He's a polarizing figure. Just not to me.
And that's just one of the things that has most fans crowning him as one of the most annoying figures in mixed martial arts. And while the main issue seems to be the fact that he cannot accept reality, it goes a bit deeper than that. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you say, but rather how and why you're saying it. And with Anthony Smith, there always seems to be an underlying hint of passive aggressiveness, regardless of whether or not what he's saying has merit. With one of the more recent examples being him ghosting Michael Bisping on a podcast that they co-hosted with absolutely no explanation, only to go and start his own podcast.
And we just never heard from him, you know, and then obviously I would have you filling in, and then all of a sudden we just saw that he was doing his own podcast somewhere else. So that's it. That's the story. There's no big fallout. There's no drama. There's no beef. I wish him nothing but the best, and I truly mean that. You know, I was a little bit shocked, but I just was scrolling YouTube one day and I saw the On Paper podcast, but God bless him. Good for him. I wish him nothing but the best.
Now, after being pressured by the fans of Believe You Me, Anthony claimed that this was just a simple miscommunication.
Michael Bisping and I have no beef. Like, we're good. As many people to say that Paul Fielder's an upgrade and that I absolutely suck at what I do. I don't know what the problem is then. Like, if I was so bad on the show and did such a bad job, I don't know why everyone's so angry about it that I'm not on it anymore. I'm a really bad communicator. It was almost like an assumed thing. Like, Anthony's going through this right now. He's in the fire. Just let me do that and then we'll figure it out, right? Then the day of the fight, he sent me a message saying good luck, super appreciative. Again, for anybody out there that doesn't know fighters, no fighter's going to respond to you the day of the fight. Again, I didn't even want to say anything because I don't want to get into this public back and forth, but the assumption is that I've been ignoring him, or that I've been not wanting to talk to him, or that I've been ghosting him.
But I think it's more than a little obvious that he got a bit butthurt that some fans were saying that his temporary replacement in Paul Felder was the better fit, and also didn't want to be subjected to Michael Bisping calling him out on his BS after his most recent loss to Dominic Reyes.
I got impatient. Like, I just wanted something to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And I just forced it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, nothing was happening. Like, he wasn't engaging. He wasn't like I seen everything. And that was the worst part too. I was in there like, God damn, you're not that good.
Based on what I've seen publicly, it is my personal opinion that Anthony Smith is the type of guy that rolls his eyes and gives his friends the silent treatment because he feels like they should just know what's bothering him instinctively. He's a very pouty individual, and that often doesn't mesh well with the people in the circles that he runs in because they're fighters and tend to react aggressively. Prime example of such an individual being former UFC light heavyweight champion Quentin Rampage Jackson. 45-70 aside, Rampage is generally not an individual that likes to be annoyed.
Why don't you hit me? Hit me!
Keep going.
Hit these. That's what I thought.
It was perfect. Action round.
Harris, you made yourself look like a total and now I have a legal lawsuit.
Hey,
no.
Hey,
bro. That's cool. You can be not. No, you annoying. Fuck out here. Man, shut the fuck up.
Oh shit.
God damn, dude, annoying.
And him and Anthony Smith have already had a brief moment of sorts where Smith, who was apparently Rampage's biggest fan, felt hurt after a segment on the Jackson podcast involving TJ Dillashaw.
TJ, the most asked question on our Jackson podcast, do we think Anthony Smith has what it takes to be a light heavyweight world champion?
Never.
No. Whoa. TJ, come on. You're a two-time world champion. You did it in the UFC. Let other people have a little shine. You don't got to kill
I'm not
like
trying to. Dude, I just don't. He's not good enough.
Tough to say.
Like
He gives
Oh my God.
Have you?
Lionheart.
I've watched the game as
Lionheart.
No, his name is Lionheart.
Lionheart. What is the nickname?
Would he give himself that?
It means to be with a lion.
Did he give himself that name or what?
Oh my God,
I mean,
TJ.
he gives up in there.
The Rampage thing kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because I've been such a big Rampage is my favorite fighter and
He defended you.
Teenager. So I think that it was just like being made fun of by TJ Dillashaw with Rampage, I think hurt my feelings.
Rampage defended
ruined
you.
my friendship with Anthony Smith.
Yeah, and mine. And
Why?
mine.
Just
Because we had your back.
I didn't have. I had
Yes, you
Anthony
did.
Smith back.
No,
Yeah.
we had his. Oh,
No,
who
I
back do we have?
we had Anthony Smith
I
back.
got your
Okay,
back.
so the
Yeah,
only
they
reason
were
why his
defending
feelings got hurt
Anthony.
is because again it was.
I don't know why he
Feelings
feels
didn't
that
get
way.
hurt.
No.
You were just being a little aggressive.
Yeah,
towards
you-
him.
Why? Because he gave up.
No, he
Yeah,
didn't. Oh,
No, he didn't give up.
he didn't give
Yes,
up.
he did.
but you-
100% gave up.
He thought that me and him. He thought that Bear and I was making fun of him.
We
with
would
you.
never.
Now, I'll be honest, I do understand where Anthony Smith is coming from here, as it seemed like Rampage was being sarcastic when mentioning his nickname.
Lionheart.
I've watched the game as
Lionheart.
No, his name is Lionheart.
And apparently so did Rampage, which is why he decided
Okay.
to DM him to smooth the situation over. You'll see how that turned out in a bit, but
Okay,
before
I
we
see.
get there, I want to set a bit of context. The Jackson podcast was recently involved in a bit of controversy revolving around Bryce Mitchell, who went on the podcast after making statements that were deemed to be anti-Semitic on the first episode of his podcast. Instead of letting him elaborate, Bear was immediately confrontational and took a very harsh stance against what was said, refusing to
That shirt
even
is
let Bryce
wild.
explain himself.
I wish I didn't have to talk about it at all,
Given
but I
the
feel like the severity of it
circumstance.
being this is the first time I've shown my face since I said it. I do want to talk about it. I said word for word, I do not support. I am not a Nazi. I said it word for word. You can go back and watch it. And
People just clipped up some of the stuff.
I said was a good guy. And then I said, after that, I said before he committed all the atrocities.
Brother, you don't know him, right? You don't know the severity of what he did to the world. Obviously, I could tell you don't know for you to be able to even relaxedly say that word, that he was a good guy. And I'm not even going to give him the benefit of saying his name. But those extremist ideologies, the things he did to, millions of people are some of the most disgusting, most evil things the world ever seen. Now, we're not going to give you a platform today to talk about anything that even remotely supports that.
No,
we're not going to give you a platform
I don't want
to justify
yeah.
what you said. And matter of fact, and me and Rampage talked about this, we're not even going to give you a platform to explain yourself on that. I personally just feel with the things that he did and the millions of people that died, there's no justification pre or post. Whatever you did say, ain't nobody a good guy.
This was received extremely poorly by the fans, which led to the episode being taken down and for Rampage to issue an explanation.
Bear wanted me to be more serious for that because it was really serious. Like some of you dickweeds, y'all don't understand how serious that Bryce was saying.
But seeing an opportunity to take a dig at the Jackson podcast after the TJ Dillashaw situation, Anthony Smith decided to put his own 2 cents in, and while he did make several solid points, he did it in a very catty Anthony Smith-like way, where he was clearly still upset at the previous slight against him.
I absolutely disagree with Bear and the Jackson podcast bringing Bryce Mitchell. I'm guaranteeing you they paid him. They flew him out there. They knew that this controversy had just happened. That's your responsibility to know that. You don't get to bring him on there and then dunk on him in front of the whole world when he's already down and not give him an opportunity to defend himself.
Yeah,
don't
that's
bring him on
crazy.
and then censor what he's saying.
Yeah, that part was crazy.
Let him speak his truth.
Let him speak.
That's your responsibility to know that if you bring Bryce Mitchell on, he's
probably gonna say some crazy shit.
He's about goddamn liable to say something crazy. But you don't get to like dunk on him and then you catch some heat for it and you pull the episode down. Say it with your chest. It happened to me. You brought me on. You're super cool to me. I had a good time. I love Rampage. He's my favorite fighter. I've said that for years. You've heard me say that 100 times. Rampage is my favorite fighter. You bring me on. I have an amazing time.
Yeah, he's hurt.
And then, like, I don't know, several months later, you're on there with Dillashaw making fun of me.
Yeah, he's hurt.
That's what they do. That's their thing.
And this caused both Bear and Rampage to release yet another explanation video, during which Rampage got progressively more and more angry until he could just not take it any longer, and finally let everything out, including the fact that he had privately DM'd Smith, the reaction to which seemed to annoy him into a full-blown rage.
Obviously, guys, we're not perfect. That doesn't give me an excuse to mess up. I'm a podcast host that interviews fighters, and I'm not a fighter. I do this because I love it. I bring in these fighters and take care of them because I love fighting and I love watching, and I grew up doing this.
I love doing this podcast. This podcast got me back into MMA. I've met a lot of fighters since I've started doing this podcast, and I've always stayed away from the fighters because I'm different from y'all, and that's the problem right here, me being different from y'all. I saw this post that, what's his name, Anthony Smith did. I saw it this morning. Pissed me off. When TJ sat right here and said that you would never be champion and said that you gave up, Bear and I your back, and that's why we were saying Lionheart with a nickname like Lionheart, not Lionheart. And you took it as I was making fun of you, and Bear and I making fun of you. Bear and I actually liked your ass. I DM'd you.
Wow.
Because I could see, I looked at it, I could say, oh, okay, I could see how he could think that I was making fun of him too. So I DM'd you. You left me on red on your DMs when I tried to explain to you I wasn't making fun of your ass.
I definitely want to end it with, I just want everybody to know that we are going to be trying to bring on some of the best guests, some of the biggest MMA legends that give you guys a good show. We're going to try our hardest to make sure you guys continuously get the best shows you can, where me and Rampage do our thing. Yes, sometimes I cut the guests off. Yes, sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you need to quit cutting the guests off. And I'm telling you, man, you got me pissed out. Hey, go tell me better keep my...
Yeah, he hurt.
I see his bitch smack the fuck out of him.
This is a hilarious situation to me because it's such a blatant personality clash, and Anthony Smith not answering Rampage's DM is par for the course, because just like with Michael Bisping, he was probably expecting Rampage to beg for his attention. That's just the type of guy that he is. He's a high school girl that got Freaky Friday'd into the body of a 6'2", 36-year-old MMA fighter, and you can tell that really got on Rampage's nerves. He was probably getting flashbacks of his ex-wife, and I think that this would happen to any more or less emotionally stable man if he was put around Anthony Smith for a long enough period of time. There's only so many purposely loud sighs and I'm fines that a guy can take. He's just not in his element if he's not criticizing or complaining about something, and that's rich of me to say considering what I'm doing right now, but hey, real recognize real. And that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button.
Yo, shout out to GeeKay, dope video, man. It's like just really emotional, man. These guys are just too emotional. All right, that's like, they're both like, Anthony Smith is very hurt. All right, his feelings are hurt that TJ Dillashaw clowned him on his Favorite Fighters podcast. Even though as I'm watching it the first time through, I'm like, dude, they defended you. But then when GeeKay played it back, when he's like, Lionheart, like, it was like, oh, maybe he could take that as he was clowning him. But I felt like when I was watching it that Rampage and that Bear guy, if anything, I don't know who that Bear guy is, so I just kind of wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying. But Rampage was defending Anthony Smith, but Anthony Smith is the type of person that the homies back in the day would call, shout out to Will and Cody, they would call these niggas butt hurt. All right, these niggas get butt hurt. Okay, Anthony Smith got butt hurt that TJ Dillashaw called him out, said he's not good enough to ever be a champion on his Favorite Fighters podcast. He got butt hurt and then lashed out, refused to answer Quentin Rampage Jackson's DMs. Rampage reached out and tried to like mend things, and he then went on to his podcast and tried to attack them when they were down, when they pulled that episode, that Bryce Mitchell episode, and they were getting all this backlash, he then decided this is the point for me to attack Rampage and his podcast, even though they defended him. It's just, I really hope they don't end up fighting. That doesn't need to happen. It's unfortunate, but it's just a lot of emotions here that could have been fixed with just a conversation, just a little bit of communication. And it's not like Rampage didn't reach out. It's not like Bisping didn't reach out. And it's not like Anthony Smith couldn't have reached out and said something. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, I think Anthony is completely in the wrong here, because if that had happened and Anthony Smith was like, holy shit, I thought me and Rampage were cool. I've said publicly he's my favorite fighter, like many times, and I thought we were cool. And he just clowned me. If that was the case, you know what I'm saying? But he defended you on that podcast, and he reached out to let you know that, like, hey, man, I hope everything's good. He reached out to you about that moment, and you ignored him, only to be very emotional. So I think Anthony Smith is in the wrong here. Anthony Smith should apologize. He should apologize to Bisping. He did the same thing. He kind of just ghosted Bisping. It seems to be just the move for Anthony Smith. He's telling Johnny Walker that he's trying to hurt his family. This is Anthony Smith. He's, as some people like to jokingly call him, Turtle Heart. Anthony Turtle Heart Smith. He just kind of shows up on the ground repeatedly. I don't know why that's his favorite move, but shelling up on the ground is his favorite move. It seems like it, unfortunately. I was a big Lionheart fan, like real talk. I've said it here many times. I was a big Lionheart fan, but he's in the wrong here in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. What's your opinion on the beef between Rampage Jackson and Anthony Lionheart Smith? Did you feel like Rampage and Bear were defending Anthony Smith, or do you feel like they were joining in and clowning Anthony Smith? Do you feel like Anthony Smith is overreacting? All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for being here. Once again, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you guys when I see you guys. I'll holla.